Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the year ahead forecast for each life path number. Now, keep in mind, these forecasts are going to be different than your own personal year ahead forecast. They will be relevant and you will feel these energies. However, if you're looking for sort of a more dialed in version, then I highly recommend a year ahead forecast, a personal year ahead forecast, where we'll look at your own personal numerology. Because again, the calculations are very different for this reading and for the personal year ahead forecast. So if you're interested in that, then you can book some time with me. And really anytime it's a good time to get a year ahead forecast. It'll give you an insight into the following 12 months and what they could bring and the types of energies you'll be working with. And it's broken down month by month, as well as an overview for the year ahead. If you're interested in that, anytime's a good time, but this is a great time because I'm recording this in the beginning of November. And so if you book now, you will get November and December of 2023, as well as January through December 2024. So you're getting a couple of months extra thrown in there. So if you're interested in that, then book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. All right, so let's take a look at what could be coming up. So first and foremost, and this is relevant for every life path number, collectively, we are going to be working with the energy of the 8. Okay, so 2024 is an 8 universal cycle. So this is going to bring in key themes around money, control, or our relationship to money. Or our relationship to people in some degree of power or control or abundance. Also, it can bring up power struggles, as well as empowerment. So we could have opportunities show up this year to step into greater self-empowerment or to alleviate or find solutions for power struggles and how those may show up. This is also going to be a year that'll focus on authority and how to take authority within your own life, as well as manage your own life. So really when the 8 comes through in a cycle, we're being asked to take responsibility for our own journey, okay? And be very mindful of how we are showing up to the greater collective and how our actions have a greater influence or impact on the all, right? So this year is also going to bring into focus a lot about integrity and where there might be a lack of integrity and where there needs to be a boost in integrity. And remember, this can also happen on the global stage because this is the universal cycle. But we will feel these themes very strongly within our own journey as well. There could be things that come up around opportunities for success, abundance, progression when it comes to your career or your expertise. You might want to hone in on on certain skills and then express those skills in a way where you're sharing your wisdom, your knowledge to, again, assist in bettering another, right? In there, as far as their business or their career or whatever the case may be. When the 8 comes through in a cycle, this is a great time to use your own power, influence, status, money, resources to help to uplift, empower, inspire another. So opening doors for others, giving them an opportunity that they might not have had if you did not extend that offer. So when the 8 comes into play, it's really sort of trying to balance where there's integrity and where there isn't. And we can see that potentially come in around money, resources, power this year, again, on a global stage. So we could see some things crumble. We could see some shocking events that look to equalize power, money, resources, to bring it back into integrity, or at least initiate that process. Anytime we have an 8 cycle, we're being asked to have some level of spiritual evolution on the material plane. The 8 governs or is in charge of the material plane. It is very connected to the spiritual realm as well, but is very focused on the material plane. So it will bring into focus, again, on a global stage as well as individually, where it is that we could evolve a bit more when it comes to, again, our relationship to money, power, status, influence, all of those things. How can we infuse more integrity into those areas of our own life? And then again, on the larger arena, we could be looking at our relationship again to money, and where it is that maybe we give our power away when it comes to money or status or any of those things that I mentioned. So again, at the core of this, it's about self-empowerment. It's also about using that self-empowerment to uplift, empower, inspire others. So it becomes this sort of synergy where we're working together and merging our wisdom, our expertise, our abundance to uplift, empower, inspire the greater good through our own actions. I would also say there could be an influence, or there could be a strong pull to get very serious and focused on what it is that you feel called to become the expert in, right? So there may be something that has been pulling at you to really sort of invest the time and energy and resources into it so that you can step into that sort of mastery of whatever that is. And it doesn't have to be career related. It could be just your own personal growth and evolution, however it comes in for you. But there's definitely something about mastery and sort of authority in some area. And that doesn't mean that it's better than or less than anybody else. It just means that we are all experts at something eventually. And when we share that expertise, we contribute to the greater good. So all of these themes could be coming up this year for a greater reflection, and to kind of see where it is that we can make some adjustments or modifications to really step into this 8 cycle and what it has to offer. Also, themes of control could be coming up. And sometimes we have to reach a boiling point before we start to see the resolution or the solutions. So on a global stage, we may see things bubbling to the surface about control. And regardless of, there's so many ways that could come in. But also in our own lives, where is it that we're trying to have control over a situation or a person or something? And it's actually self-sabotaging us. So all these themes could be coming in this year at some point to be worked with more deeply and to be adjusted and to step into the higher octave of the 8, which again, really at its core has to do with integrity. So with that being said, let's take a look at each individual life path number. Life path 6. So you all are working with the energy of the 14-5 in 2024. And what's interesting is I pulled an animal wisdom message for you all, and you got spider energy. And these energies go together so beautifully. So I want to talk about it for a moment. So spider energy, there's something here about balance and intuition. And really where the balance sort of comes in. And it's funny because 14-5 energy can absolutely be seen as the need for balance and intuition and following your intuition. But with spider energy, the way this sort of comes in is, the spider has to put in the effort and be very focused on creating its web. And that web is going to be very unique to the spider, to itself. But it has to put in it's got to follow its instinct or its intuition to decide where to put that web, where it's going to get the most nutrients. And again, it can be just a guess in the spider world, but it's got to figure out where to put it. And then it's got to put in the effort and actually create it. And every web that spider creates is very unique to itself. Once it creates that web, it's done. It releases, to the universe to send in the nutrients because it doesn't have any control over what or when that nutrients arrives. It can only do its part and then sort of surrender to something bigger than itself, something, unseen, to deliver the goods, so to speak. If that web doesn't work, like if there's not a lot of nutrients that come in for the spider, they can either tear it down and start over, or they can move locations and follow their instincts or their intuition and find a better location. And then again, sort of trial and error and see how it works out. And that's very much the energy that you all are working with this year. So with 14-5 energy, the 5 is asking you to break free from anything that's holding you back, that is sort of sabotaging you. And this can be either like an over-restrictive nature or in a nature of overindulgence or living in excess. So at some point, you've got to find the balance between the two and do things in moderation, right? But this year is going to ask you to be thinking outside the box, to be thinking more innovatively, progressively, to try different things that are both innovative and freeing for you. With that being said, you've got the energy of the 4 in the 14, right? So there's definitely something here about following your intuition and following your heart, making sure that your heart's in whatever it is that you're creating or pursuing or, attempting. And there has to be focus, like there has to be commitment to whatever this is. So the 5 can be this very freeing energy that's like, yeah, let's do it all. Let's experience life with all of our senses. Let's go gung-ho and just yippee, right? It's a very fast-moving energy. But the 4 is sort of checkpoint energy, and it slows everything down, and it's saying, well, let's pay attention to the details, though. We can do all these things, but let's pay attention to the details. Let's make sure that we are committed to this. We've got a plan. We're strategic, and we're putting in the effort. We're showing up. So in other words, you're creating your own web, and then you're allowing the universe to do its part, right? Or a higher power or your soul or whatever. So what I would say when you're working with 14-5 energy is it would be easy to sort of get so committed or so sort of dedicated to whatever this is that you end up restricting yourself, that you are, just become sort of a workaholic, or you become sort of too controlling over the outcome. And both the 14 and the 5 are here to show you that you're responsible for the effort, again, making the web, and then, leaving it up to however things come in for you. So you're not in control or responsible for the outcome, because there's only a certain amount of outcome that you can control type thing, right? So this is going to be sort of a push-pull kind of energy, but it is asking you to find the balance between being focused, committed, and seeing something through to completion, as well as being free and, free to express yourself and be creative and experience life and have fun and all those things. So you could feel this sort of push-pull energy between the need to be serious and the need for play, the need for being more refined and the need for sort of thinking unconventionally. So being conventional versus unconventional, and where can you meet in the middle? So again, this can be around relationships or your career, anywhere in life. This energy can kind of show up. So it can feel like, again, sort of tug of war energy within you, but it's asking you to get serious and focused on the things that you want to achieve that might be a little bit more unconventional or outside the box or freeing. So again, you maintain your balance. And continuing to follow that intuition and staying true to yourself and sort of honoring your own uniqueness. Same thing with spider energy. Because we're in this sort of 8 overarching energy this year, you could see some things come in around career or money or resources or power, status, etc. But there's definitely something here about bringing something into the tangible and then being very sort of meticulous with it, but also not too rigid. So again, finding that balance and doing things in moderation. You could find that you become or work towards becoming the expert at something that feels very freeing for you, but it's going to take commitment and it's going to take persistence, because the 4 requires us to continue to show up And often there's some kind of delayed gratification with that effort. So in order for the spider to eat the nutrients, first it has to build the web, then it has to be patient as the nutrients come in to that web. And then it can sort of reap the harvest and enjoy the nutrients. So again, same kind of energy with 14.5. There's something here that you are going to have to focus your energy, put in your effort, show up to, commit to it, see it through to completion, and then sort of surrender to, the things you can't control. Allow them to come to you, and then decide what you want to do with them, type thing. So this can be a very freeing energy as well. The other thing I would say about the 5 energy is it does bring change. It does bring some kind of shift, right? It's going to sort of wake us up where it is that we've fallen asleep, where it is that we become stagnant is going to bring in sort of that burst of new energy, a new way to see things that sort of gets us out of our rut. So you could very much see that this year, especially if there's anything to do with those 8 themes that I talked about in the intro. You could definitely see big changes come in for you this year with that. The one thing that I'll say about the 5 energy is it's not necessarily a time to plant roots, even though you do have that 4 influence. It's not the time to necessarily get super grounded. It's more about getting in the boat and seeing where the river takes you. And then once, at the end of the year, you can kind of survey and see where you're at. And then you can sort of really get your footing. It can sometimes be hard to get your footing in a 5-year, just because there can be a lot of change and transformation and new perspectives and new ways of seeing things. And everything's kind of like in this constant evolution that can feel like it's sped up. So it can be a little bit challenging to get your footing this year, but that's okay. See where the energy takes you. And then once you land wherever that is, then you can sort of survey the landscape and decide how it is that you want to build your foundation, whatever that is. So again, that can be with relationships or career or anything. This year is more about shaking up where it is that you need to be shaken up, right? And start moving in that, in a different direction or a new direction, or seeing it with new eyes or something like that. So there's a very strong possibility for some shakeups this year, but they're all working towards building a stronger, more sustainable foundation for you, right? A bigger web and a more, a web that's placed where it needs to be to get more nutrients. Let's put it that way. So I hope it's a great year for y'all. Take care. Bye for now.